Imagine a life where pain, death, and poverty hold no fear. A life where your only concern is to live virtuously and fulfill your potential. This is the essence of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, is renowned for his work Meditations. The concept of being a great person might be abstract, but Marcus is arguably one of the most deserving of this title in history. This isn't a self-help video, but the philosophy Marcus introduced can address many contemporary issues, and I aim to show you how to understand his teachings. Let's explore the historical context. Marcus Aurelius ruled as Roman emperor from 161 AD to 180 AD, the last of the 5 so-called good emperors, presiding over the era known as the Pax Romana, a time of relative peace and stability within the Roman Empire. The Pax Romana concluded with his death. During his reign, Marcus faced numerous challenges that tested his Stoic resolve, including the Marcomannic Wars, a series of conflicts against Germanic tribes, and the Antonine Plague, a devastating pandemic that significantly impacted the empire. As emperor, Marcus was the most powerful man in the world, with the Romans having little concept of territories beyond their empire, making him the ruler of the known world. Despite this, Marcus chose a path of virtue. The life of a Roman emperor was synonymous with hedonism, indulging in money, sex, wine, and other pleasures. Such indulgences were almost expected. Despite these boundless temptations, Marcus chose to live a life of virtue throughout his 19-year reign. Being good doesn't automatically make you great, but imagine facing limitless temptations and choosing virtue, not for acclaim or recognition, but purely for the sake of being good. That is truly remarkable. Consider if you were in his position for nearly 20 years. Could you resist temptation daily, knowing there would be no consequences for any action you took? How would you behave? I know I couldn't live up to the example set by Marcus. Let's delve into his personal reflections captured in his journal, Meditations, which reveal how he applied Stoic principles in his life. Meditations, initially his personal journal, documents his navigation through life, divided into 12 parts and covering about 150 pages. The title Meditations was assigned by publishers, but Marcus never intended for these writings to be read by others. They were his deepest confessions and beliefs. Even though it was written spontaneously, Meditations is one of the most powerful and moving books ever created. The best way to appreciate Meditations is to read it yourself. Copies are available in nearly every library and bookstore worldwide. However, for this video, there are a few ideas worth examining. Marcus Aurelius believed in living according to nature. By nature, he referred to plants and animals, but also the natural order of the universe. Trees grow because that is their purpose. They grow as large and beautiful as they can, not for praise or validation, but because that is their nature. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly, and a frail chick becomes an eagle, not out of desire, but because they are meant to. Similarly, Marcus believed that humans must fulfill their potential. He did not believe in accumulating riches or accolades. Nature made you human, and it is your duty to be the kindest, most virtuous human possible. For Marcus, this was the pinnacle of human achievement, and unfulfilled potential was the darkest place one could descend to. A key Stoic principle is that while you cannot control external events, you can control your reactions to them. No matter what happens, a great person weathers the storm and lives up to their fullest potential. This is your duty as a human. As emperor, Marcus dealt with numerous challenges, including evil and adversity. Above all, he believed that evil, wicked, or bad people were a part of our universe. Asking for a world without them is like asking for a vine without thorns. Bad people exist, and you will encounter them. Marcus believed in kindness and thought that people never intentionally did wrong. It was out of ignorance. While you can try to teach them, it is not always possible. You cannot control if the universe sends you immoral, wicked, or lazy people, and often you cannot help them. Marcus advised looking inward. He reminded himself that he had faults too and was in no position to judge others. On a different day, perhaps he would be the ignorant one. Sometimes you simply do not understand the full picture. The thief who steals to feed his family might not be wrong. You just don't understand, so don't judge. He believed we were all born for each other. Much like trees grow fruit for animals to eat, and animals die to feed worms, we are made to help each other. This is our duty, and failing to do so is the only true failure in life. We all face adversity, and Marcus was no exception. Just as encountering bad people is part of life, so is facing adversity. You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you react. Marcus advised not to pray for bad things not to happen, as that's futile. Instead, be ready to meet adversity when it comes. Don't feel sorry for yourself or mope. Feel fortunate that you have the tools and spirit to endure. Bear events bravely and persist. When you do, you'll realize that what seemed bad was an opportunity to rise above and move forward. When adversity comes, don't complain. Act and endure. If an unendurable event comes, don't disgrace yourself. All men die, but not all die complaining. Despite his wealth, Marcus Aurelius didn't see material possessions as inherently bad. He was cautious with his relationship to his belongings. He could have had anything: money, houses, art, wine, but he chose not to dream of physical things. These are meaningless and don't fulfill your potential. Reflect on and value what you have, but don't become so attached that you would be despondent if they disappeared. These things don't make you more virtuous or kind. Your potential is higher than that. He spent considerable time contemplating death, viewing it as a natural part of life. His views were simple. It's inevitable. Don't fear death or mortality. Nature has assigned us to be good and reach our potential, but also to die. Death is a duty. While you're here, live fully, be kind, be good, and then die, as death is part of our role in nature. Marcus, along with others, was a forebearer of Stoicism. The Stoics believed in many things, covering logic, ethics, and more. Central to their philosophy is the distinction between pleasure and happiness. Money, fame, and success provide fleeting pleasure, but true happiness is deeper, a state of being from within. It doesn't come from worldly things. To achieve happiness, live a life of virtue and continually better yourself. The only true failure is not achieving your potential. Being great is your duty in nature. In conclusion, Stoicism teaches that true wisdom and virtue come from living in alignment with nature, focusing on what we can control, our thoughts and actions. At its core, Stoicism teaches that the only things within our control are our thoughts and actions, and that we should strive to live a life of virtue in accordance with reason. The main tenets include wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Their only fear is neglecting their moral duties. Pain, death, poverty, or life's various challenges do not intimidate them. Their true fear lies in disappointing themselves and failing to be fully human. He once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." One notable example of Marcus's stoicism was during the betrayal by his general, Avidius Cassius, in 175 AD. Cassius declared himself emperor and led a rebellion against Marcus Aurelius. This act of treason was a profound betrayal, as Cassius had been a trusted general and close ally. Naturally, Marcus felt hurt and angry. The initial reaction might have been to seek revenge, to crush Cassius and make an example out of him. However, Marcus decided to take a different approach, staying true to his Stoic principles. Instead of reacting impulsively and with vengeance, he maintained his composure and integrity. He continued to govern diligently, focusing on the well-being of the empire rather than being consumed by thoughts of revenge. He instructed his forces to advance towards the rebels with the intention of quelling the rebellion, but not with unnecessary cruelty. When Cassius was assassinated by his own soldiers before Marcus could reach him, the emperor's reaction was telling. Marcus did not celebrate the death of his rival. Instead, he showed clemency and forgiveness to those who had supported Cassius. He even mourned the loss of his former friend, reflecting his belief that revenge was not the answer. Marcus Aurelius chose to rise above the betrayal, demonstrating mercy and understanding rather than perpetuating a cycle of violence and retribution. This event illustrates Aurelius's lesson that the best revenge is to be unlike those who perform the injury. By responding with dignity and clemency, Marcus Aurelius preserved his integrity and demonstrated his strength of character. He set an example for his contemporaries and for future generations, showing that true power lies not in revenge, but in maintaining one's virtues even in the face of betrayal. Let's discuss this quote. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Despite the turbulence of his reign, Marcus maintained a positive mindset, understanding that his thoughts shaped his soul. He faced daunting challenges, including wars on multiple fronts, a devastating plague, and political unrest. These circumstances could have easily led him to despair and negativity. However, Marcus Aurelius understood the importance of maintaining a positive and virtuous mindset, knowing that his thoughts would shape his soul and ultimately his actions. In the midst of the Marcomannic Wars, Marcus spent long periods away from Rome, leading his troops in harsh conditions. The physical and emotional toll of warfare was immense, yet he consistently reminded himself of his duty and purpose. He wrote in Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This Stoic principle guided him to view obstacles not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities for growth and virtue. The Antonine Plague, which ravaged the Roman Empire during his reign, presented another formidable challenge. The epidemic caused widespread fear, suffering, and death. As emperor, Marcus faced the daunting task of managing the crisis and providing leadership to a beleaguered population. Despite the pervasive despair, he maintained a focus on rational thought and virtuous action, understanding that his response would set the tone for the entire empire. He showed compassion, provided aid to the afflicted, and implemented measures to contain the spread of the disease. Marcus Aurelius's resilience in these situations exemplifies his belief that one's inner thoughts and mindset profoundly influence their external reality. By maintaining a positive and virtuous mindset, even in the face of immense adversity, he was able to lead effectively and inspire those around him. He wrote Meditations not as a polished treatise, but as a personal journal of self-reflection, often written in the solitude of his tent amidst the din of battle. These writings were meant to guide himself, serving as reminders to maintain his principles and stay true to his Stoic beliefs. Profound impact of Meditations lies in its honesty and authenticity. Marcus's writings resonate because they are the reflections of a man striving to live virtuously in the face of immense challenges. His thoughts were not abstract theories, but practical guidance to help him navigate the complexities of his life. This raw and personal approach makes Meditations a timeless source of wisdom, as readers across centuries have found solace and guidance in Marcus's reflections. By diligently applying the principles he espoused, Marcus Aurelius demonstrated that it is possible to maintain one's integrity and virtue, even in the most trying circumstances. His legacy continues to inspire those who seek to live a life of purpose, resilience, and wisdom, showing that true greatness is achieved through the consistent practice of virtue and self-reflection.